GBC at our Mayapur meetings annually. So, Haridas, over to you, and we have a nice video at the end of your class, I believe. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Warm welcome to everyone. So it's my seva today to read from Bhagavad Gita, and we have chosen chapter 15, fifth verse. I remember this verse was read by Guru Maharaj at Vasudev's house in London, and and Guru Maharaj, spoke from the heart about this, and it stuck with me, the message, and so I've chosen that. I hope you like it. It's 15th chapter and 5th verse. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dosha Adhyatma Nitya Vinivrata Kama Dvandve Vimukta Sukh Dukha Sangir Gachanti Amudha Padam Avyayam Tat. And translation by Srila Prabhupada. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The surrendering process is described here very nicely. The first qualification is that one should not be deluded by pride. Because the conditioned soul is puffed up, thinking himself the lord of material nature, it is very difficult for him to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know by the cultivation of real knowledge that he is not the Lord of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord. When one is free from delusion caused by pride, he can begin the process of surrender. For one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. Pride is due to illusion. For although one comes here, stays for a brief time, then goes away, he has the foolish notion that he is the Lord of the world. He thus makes all things complicated, and he is always in trouble. The whole world moves under this impression. People are considering the land, this earth, to belong to the human society. And they have divided the land under the false impression that they are the proprietors. One has to get out of this false notion that human society is the proprietor of this world. When one is freed from such a false notion, he becomes free from all the false associations caused by familial, social, and national affections. These faulty associations bind one to this material world. After this stage, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. One has to cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what is actually not his own. And when one has an understanding of things as they are, he becomes free from all dual conceptions such as happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. He becomes full in knowledge. Then it is possible for him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that was purported by Srila Prabhupada. So I'll repeat the verse. Nirmana moha jit sangha dosha adhyatma nitya vinivrata kama dvandve vimukta sukh dukha sange gachanti amudha padam avyam tat. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishvani Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrind Ki Jai. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Nirman Moha. So those two words, Nirman. Man is pride. False pride. And Srila Prabhupada has put in the purport there, that is due to illusion. And what is the illusion? We think we are this body, or we are from this country. We are the best of the species. All these, thoughts, they make you very competitive. And you can see around the world, all the education, all the training which is being given is for you to be the best. One of the countries, USA, is well known for those trainings. So always be the best. And then the competition is to be the best. So the ego actually goes up. And later on, they can't maintain that. So then depression sets in. They forget who is the best. They don't have the knowledge who is the best. I mean, Prabhupada, said in his purport here, that people are considering the land, this earth, to belong to human society. And they have divided the land under the false impression that they are the proprietors. So, Srila Prabhupada once said that the leaders of the country should also look after the trees and the animals. They are also citizens of the country. But, that's not being done. We just consider the votes of the humans. And then all arrangements, they even cheat the humans. They'll promise we'll do this, do that. And it's all false. It's all illusion. And then once they're in the seat, they forget their promises. Not only that, they still slaughter animals. In Brazil, they burn so many forests so they can have more land to grow food for the humans. They're forgetting the nature is very important. And the nature has hit back. With this COVID-19, most of the modern way of thinking is locked down. We are all locked down. We actually, as devotees as well, we lost our freedom to actually go to the temple and congregate. That's happened to all the places of entertainment, all the places where people gathered and were having sense gratification. And where there was pride, even in dharma, religion, it's lockdown situation. They can't meet. And as we said, there's a big disappointment. The scientists and the doctors haven't come up with a cure yet. It's been so long. A little virus is beating them. The scientists don't accept the authority of God, but now they're scared of a little virus. So that's nirman. And that's called jad abhiman. Jad abhiman is, this pride about, I have this body, I'm from this, jati, I'm Brahman, I'm this and I'm that, I'm royal. All this then stops you from surrendering to the Supreme Lord. It is very important to learn how to surrender. So nirman, we should give up this pride, where you were born, who you are. We should develop Vaishnava qualities. And an example of this is Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. They used to, work for the king of Bengal. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Ramkeli, that's the place where Rupa and Sanatana were, and the king called them and they said, who's this, personality who's entered Ramkeli? He's followed by thousands and thousands of people. So when he asked somebody else first before Rupa and Sanatana, the other Vaishnav just said, oh, he's nobody. It's okay. We shouldn't. He thought maybe the king will get envious and make problem for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So diplomatically he said, I wouldn't even worry about it. But then he asked Rupa and Sanatana, and Rupa and Sanatana said, what do you think? Who do you think he is? He said, from what I'm hearing, he's not promising any money or anything, but he's attracting a lot of people. So he might be prophet, or he might be the Supreme Lord. And Rupa and Sanatana said, yeah, you're right. Your thinking is good. So then the brothers decided to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then when they went in front of, they met Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Ji and said, we would like to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He introduced them, and they put straws in their mouths, and they were ministers of that place. They actually paid Dandvat Pranam to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they started to cry. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Utho, Utho, please get up, brothers. And then they said, but we are niche because we're working for, a Muslim king. And we've changed our names as well. We live their lifestyle. And they said, actually, Jagai and Madai, they are Brahmins. They were Brahmins, but they were just, were into sense gratification. And you were able to deliver them. But they were easy. They weren't as poppy as we are. He said, we are the worst case, and you're the deliverer of, the fallen souls. He says, nobody is as fallen as we are. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was really impressed with the humility. Now, let's take people like us. We're always talking about being Brahman, Kshatriya, this, that, and the other. We just fixed on that. But here's Rupa and Sanatana, who were Brahmins, but they disowned it. They said, we are not. And not only that, even when they surrendered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, got initiated, and then they went to Vrindavan, and then they came to see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, they wouldn't go into the temple. They considered that they are not, qualified. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't even force the issue. He wasn't happy, but Haridas Thakur and Rupa Goswami, they would just stay where they are and just look at the chakra, and pay obeisances. And then every evening, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come to visit them, and they would smile. They're saying, everybody goes to see the Lord, and the Lord is coming to see us. Nirmana moha. So we have to give up our humility. It's so hard to do that because we've been trained up to be competitive. In the classroom, when they say the results, whoever is first, second, they're glorified. Even at work, those who work very, very hard, they get higher salaries. So there is so much arrogance about. How can they surrender? Nirman moha, in illusion. There's Raghunath Das Goswami. He was son of a billionaire. And he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wanted to forsake his household, but his father won't let him. He's the only son. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, don't worry, Krishna will arrange. Then when Nityananda Prabhu came, he approached Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu guided him, and he gave up his beautiful wife and the family and went to Jagannath Puri. And you wouldn't believe it. He started to just eat the rice, which was very old from the temple, just being thrown away. And he would take away the old rice from the top, well, the rotten one, and eat the inside. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that, he came over and took the rice. And Raghunath Das Goswami, please don't have this, Mahaprabhu. This is not suitable for you. Because if this is suitable for you, it's suitable for me. We have live examples of devotees who gave up their wealth, who gave up their positions. Nirmana moha. They suddenly realized this is an illusion. This is going to end with the end of the body. But we don't realize that. So these personalities, Rupa and Sanatana, that's Rupa Manjari. Rupa Manjari comes down to this earth for our sake and starts to work for a Muslim, has a Muslim name, dresses up as Muslims, and then later on doesn't even go inside the Jagannath temple. Look where they're coming from, but they never try to force their way. At Ratha Yatra, they'll gather. So we have got Ratha Yatra Mahotsav. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say one favorite shloka, and only Swarup Damodar would understand what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. So Rupa Goswami heard it, and he went to his place, a hut, and he put on a leaf the meaning of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the deeper meaning. And then he put the leaf on top of his hut. So one day he had gone somewhere else, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to see Rupa Goswami. He says, "Where Rupa? Rupa?" And there was no answer. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu noticed this leaf and writing on it. When he read it, Rupa Goswami had captured the inner mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, how did he know this? You know? And then he waited. And when Rupa Goswami came and told him, you wrote this? And Rupa Goswami just folded his hands, like that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu slapped him. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is 7 foot tall. And Rupa Goswami didn't say anything. And then he put him on his lap and he goes, how did you know my inner mood? And he goes, by your mercy. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so impressed that Rupa Goswami, he considers himself fallen, most fallen, doesn't go inside the temple. And yet he knew the core meaning of this Ratha Yatra and my mood. So he asked Sarup Damodar, how come he knew, the meaning? He goes, by your mercy, you made him speak and made him write like this. So you can see when you actually become surrendered, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji will give you that understanding. We have to, as devotees, realize we must give up this pride, even of thinking I'm a Brahman initiated, I'm first initiated, I'm initiated, he's not. So nirmana moha, jita sangha dosha. Jita sangha dosha. So we have Jagai and Madai. They were associating with, loose people, drinking. They were like Brahmjanatiti Brahmana. They were Brahmin families, but they've gone away from that. In fact, Haridas Thakur and Nityanand Prabhu, they went preaching, they would go there, they will chase them away. And they were pretty heavy dudes. So then, Madai actually hit with the earthen pot Nityanand Prabhu, who started to bleed. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and was going to annihilate them. And Nityanand Prabhu says, in this avatar, you do not kill anyone. So Nityanand Prabhu is our Adi Guru. He protects us from these offenses. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say, okay, if they regret, and then, I'll give them love of Godhead. So they did regret. And in Chaitanya Bhagavad, there's a prasang where actually Lord Chaitanya took away the karma and turned into black, really dark, and then he disappeared. And both Jagai and Madai, they started to, instead of hurting people, they started to serve the people by the ghat. There was a transformation. They gave up the association. Chitta Sangha, Nirman Moha Chitta Sangha Dosha. Adhyatma Nitya. Adhyatma Nitya. We should be actually associating with devotees and also reading Bhagavatam. That's also association. Nitya, which is eternal. And this chanting in the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's Nitya. That's Avahan mantra. You actually calling Krishna. And when you say Krishna, he's on your tongue. And we should learn how to change the chanting from being offensive chanting to pure chanting. And that takes time. That means being with association. And, it's reformation, this chanting reforms. Cheto darpan marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. It actually clears your heart. And Guru Maharaj once said it. He goes, is Krishna going to come and sit in a dirty place? It should be nirmal. There should be no contamination there. But we know it. We are so fallen, just like Rupa and Sanatana, who are manjaris. They declare themselves most fallen. We are most of nothing, as Prabhupada would say. We are not nothing. We're most of nothing. This is how we should feel. But we don't. We think, oh, well, I'm initiated. I've got this and I've got that. And no wonder, we read Bhagavad Gita and it doesn't even stick in our mind. We don't seem to feel joyful all the time. Brahmbhuta prasannatma na shochti na kangshti. A Brahmbhuta, the one who thinks Brahman, Anand, is everything. He's joyful. As Vaishnava, you should be laughing, dancing all the time. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wherever he went, people were laughing, dancing. Prabhupada said, chant and be happy. And called the American devotees my white elephants, dancing elephants. So this chanting should bring about joy. But look, with this lockdown, only when we are doing the Zoom, satsang and this Sunday program, we liven up a bit. But other times, we can't become depressed. You can't, you should be doing spiritual activity. So we must give up the false, pride. We must give up this illusion. And then we must give up this bad association. And then we should take on spiritual commitment. Adhyatma Nitya. Vinivrata Kama. Calm. All these desires. Lust isn't always about physical thing. It's desires as well for wealth, for this, that, and the other. And because that's the illusion. I would like this, then I'll be happy. When you get it, you get bored with it. There's so much, I would want this. There's a need list, which is small, and want list is big. And you have what you want, that within short period, you're bored with it. So Haridas Thakur gave all that up. And when he used to do his bhajan for about, 22 hours, and then 2 hours he would eat and rest. And some Brahmins got envious of him, saying he's Muslim. He was very popular. So when somebody gets popular, obviously people get envious. And so they send a prostitute saying, why don't you attract him? And they realize he'll fall down and there'll be end of that. But instead of falling down for 3 days, the story, Haridas Thakur said, let me finish my rounds and I'll be with you. And then he would keep chanting, and then she would fall asleep. So after the third day, she realized this Haridas Thakur is an amazing personality. I cannot defeat him, because prostitutes and others, they think they can hold, turn their men's heart. Women are like fire and men are like butter. They melt. Haridas Thakur didn't melt. So then she took initiation and she started to preach. Another time, Maya Devi personally came to test Haridas Thakur. And he did the same. He didn't have time for her. Now, that is Haridas Thakur. Vinivrata Kama. He gave up all this calm, all desires. Because simple living, high thinking. If you make your living simple, then you don't desire all this sophistication, which is there now. I mean, country China has become wealthy because they're satisfying this want list. Computers, phones, chats, and whatever. They knew how to make money. From communism, they became capitalists. And look at, they got a control of the whole world. And they exported the virus as well. So, they still got plans to take over the world. Because we wanted things, and China would make it cheap and make it available. And so we are caught in it. And now with the lockdown, see, it's just our need wish, the food we need to eat. That's what we buy. But still, Amazon is enjoying all these things we order. They come straight to your door. They're doing very well. But you can see, we must give up as devotees our material desires. They should be spiritual desires. And next, what is it? Dvandver vimukha sukh dukha sangir. So, Parikshit Maharaj, when he had 7 days, he immediately gave up his palace and his family, his beautiful wife, and immediately went to the sadhus and said, what should I do now to make my life a success? I've got 7 days. See, straight away, he gave up. He didn't see any distress in it. And when Sukadev came, Parikshit Maharaj was given, the Bhagavatam was spoken to him. He didn't eat or drink for 4 days continuous. And when Sukadev says, shall we have a little break so you can eat something or whatever, And he goes, I've eaten so much, we could make a mountain out of it. And I've drunk so much that, we can make a lake of it. But I haven't been satisfied. But for the last 4 days, I've been hearing this Bhagavatam. It's satisfied my heart so much that I don't even care about that. So he gave up his eating, drinking. It's austerities. We must learn austerities. We have to have Nirjala Ekadashi and look at the plans people make. What time are we going to complete it? And what are we going to eat then? Focus is still food, not the fast. And Parikshit Maharaj gave it up. I mean, it's not easy to give up these things. So we should regulate our practice. regularly, the fasting, the Karti fast like that, and time our, prasadam times and arti times, the japa and everything. Just regulate it. And then you'll find you'll be able to, not worry so much about sukha dukkha. So the other bit is, Dvandver vimukta sukha dukkha sangir gachanti amudha. Gachanti. It says gachanti means attains. Amudha. Mudha means somebody is bewildered. It means you become unbewildered. Because look at the world now. It's become bewildered. What do we do now? Where are those politicians who used to promise prosperity and happiness for their citizens? They don't have an answer. They have a lockdown. Now they're going to have a local lockdown where there's hotspots and everything. They're just, whatever they can do to raise the financial level up a bit, they're making different plans. But they are bewildered. They don't have an answer. But when this situation wasn't there, they were claiming they can do this, they can do that. But I don't hear any claims now from any, clever people, intellectual class, or anything like that. They're all quiet. The ones who are really enjoying this lockdown are the devotees, Vaishnava, because they're doing kirtan, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That hasn't stopped. Reading Bhagavad Gita, that hasn't stopped. Talking about Krishna, that hasn't stopped. That's Parikshit Maharaj did that. He stopped all his, the royal activities, left it, abandoned it, and sat with the sadhus on the floor, and Shukadev came and sat on the throne. And, that's what we should do. Gachanti amudha. By the time we are ready to leave this planet, we shouldn't be bewildered. Dehinosmin yatha dehe komaram yovanam jara tatha dehanta praptis dhiras tatra na muhyati. We've got to become dheer. We've got to become sober. As you're getting older, you think you're going to live longer? How much longer you want to live? Look at COVID-19. So many people are dying. There's panic in the cities. People used to run to the cities. Now they're running back to the villages. How much more signal do you want that this is an illusion? It's not going to last. And we still are doing the same material things and not grabbing, not surrendering. We still have nirma. We are man, sorry. So we should give up this jad abhiman and go for chit abhiman. Jad abhiman is, I'm the greatest. Chit abhiman is, I'm dasanudas. We have to change this false pride into real pride. I'm servant of Krishna. And how does that happen? Brahmana brahmite kaun bhagyavan jiva. Guru Krishna prasade pai bhakti lata bija. The bhakti lata bij comes from Guru's kripa and Krishna kripa. We must seek Guru kripa, Krishna kripa. Prabhupada spent day and night writing these incredible books, and they stay on our shelf. And now on WhatsApp, good job on WhatsApp, there's Prabhupada's sayings coming through, and people are reading that and forwarding it so quickly. And we don't know if the ones who are forwarding, they read it and absorb it at all. Because what Prabhupada is making the point, Prabhupada made the point, don't you forward it to think it's your point. That's an illusion as well. Giving an impression as if you've understood it and you're forwarding it. Sometimes something good comes, I keep it. I don't even forward it. It's for me to change. So let's read Prabhupada's books systematically. Adhyan, it's called. It's systematic. Not randomly, because you won't pick anything up. It's like eating a feast. It's there in front of you. Then you start like a particular way and you finish it all and enjoy it. This is spiritual feast, the spiritual books. This will give you that gambhirta, that depth, that decision-making towards the end. You won't be bewildered because the body has to die. The body has, dehanta. We have to recognize that it's gonna die, and let's prepare ourselves for it. So what we're talking about here is Gachanti Amuda Padam Avyayam Tat. Then those people will attain to my eternal kingdom. So this is a temporary world, and here Krishna is talking about, eternal kingdom. And that verse, the next verse, Na tad bhasyate suryo na shishanko na pavaka yat gatva na nivartante tadadam paramam mama. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So Bhagavad Gita is promising you that your goal is not being successful materially in this present material world, but be successful in your journey to the eternal kingdom. And there is a way to get that, and that is surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna. And the Guru, initiating spiritual master, will teach you how to surrender. You know, he will chastise you, he will direct you properly, and he will be your authority. And then you realize, finally, my ego, which is the external energy of the Supreme Lord, Bhumir apo nalo vayu kham mano buddhi revacha ahankar ityame bhina prakriti rashtada. Even ahankar, ego, is element, just like the earth is. It's there, it's real. Everybody has it. But you have false ego. It should be real ego. Das anudas. I'm a servant of the servant. So this Krishna conscious process is teaching you to serve others. You know, serve the society. How? That you actually tell them about Krishna. You make prasadam, food for life. That's what ISKCON does, attract so many people. Ask people to chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Teach you how to read the Bhagavad Gita, how to understand the Bhagavad Gita, how to say the Vandana, how to say different prayers, how to do upasana, how to do different pujas. Manmana bhav madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru mam aveshasi satyante pratijane priyosi me. Then you become very dear to Krishna by doing this. And once you got the mercy of Krishna, you're almost there in the eternal kingdom, because this is also his kingdom. Then you see this Brahman, the spiritualness of this earth planet. Otherwise, it's just seen as a material earth, earthquakes here, floods there, weather is not this, COVID-19 and whatever. But when you become internalized, when you feel the Paramatma in your heart, and your Atma, you know you are the Atma Paramatma, this body then becomes a field of activity, and then the Lord in your heart blesses you, and you know it, you have the insurance, you have the surety that when you leave this body, you're going to say Hare Krishna, and then Krishna will take over. Don't have to worry about it. So Krishna says at the end, Sarva Dharman Paritejya Mamekam Sharanam Vraj Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshishami Mashacha. He's promising that you surrender. And Prabhupada said, you surrender, he immediately then protects you. There's no delay. And if you say, well, I've tried to surrender, well, you haven't really surrendered yet. Nirmana moha jit sangha dosha. Your association isn't correct. You haven't given up this illusion and this pride. We should learn to do that. And Prabhupada said, this is surrendering process. So now we're coming to the end of the class. I would like to say that the Supreme Court of India was also humbled because they said no to the Ratha Yatra, and all the devotees prayed. And I know, Prem was ringing directly the person who is involved also in the arranging, even on the day. He says, wait half an hour, then ring me. And then he said, yeah, it's on. And the devotees all over. And there's one sadhu, on a video said it, the Supreme court is not the authority. Jagannath is this, and they can't stop this Rath Yatra. This is before the decision. And the decision went there where this is what sadhus are. They were so confident. So with that, I managed to write a song, and this Chariot of Gopi's Love. And if you go inside the temple, there's actually chariot made. The wheels are also the gopis' bodies. They kind of curl their bodies up like wheels. Canopies, loads of gopis. The whole chariot is with gopis, and it's the best sculpture I've seen. And every time I go there, I touch it. So I wrote this song, Chariot of Gopi's Love, and they are pulling Krishna to Vrindavan. So this scene is in Kurukshetra, where gopis feel, Radharani said, you're the same Krishna, I'm the same Radharani, but this is not Vrindavan. They could not ignite the same environment, the same love, because it was very formal, very royal. So then they are pulling, and that's what Rath Yatra is. So I made this little offering to Jagannathji. Please, I hope the video works this time. So here's the song which I wrote the other day and put a video to it. And some of the scenes are from the Tuesday's Rath Yatra. And on Wednesday, there's yatra back to the Shri temple again. So